turns people off. Now, Mike, you know me, I am all for athletes speaking their mind, having opinions on social issues, even if I don't agree with them.
Yeah, I am too.
But they need to understand those opinions will be challenged.
Yeah, I am too. This was extremely counterproductive commentary. And I applaud and admire athletes with the courage to speak up on social and political issues. Even if we don't agree. But everybody can't bat 1,000. I respect the hell out of Richard Sherman, what he's done, where he's come from and where he is now. He's a smart brother. You know, I like him a lot, but he's dead wrong on this. And with all due respect, I think he needs to do a little more reading before he starts talking about it. I think he needs to do a little more thought, a little more introspection before he starts speaking on this, because again, this is so counterproductive because it undermines the message and the movement that is Black Lives Matter. First of all, I mean, whether it's what about Hope Solo with domestic violence is, well, what about black-on-black crime? These two things are mutually exclusive, and one has absolutely nothing to do with the other one. Black people do care about crime in their communities. Typically, you are going to commit crimes against people who are closest to you. Crime is a product of proximity. 84% of white people killed every year are killed by, wait for it, other white people. Black-on-black crime has nothing to do with crimes against black people by the state. Here's another difference. When black people commit murder or commit crimes, more often than not, they go to jail. When police killed unarmed black men or women, as the case may be, they may not go to jail, let alone even go to trial.
They get death duty.
They get death duty. They get on administrative leave. So don't undermine the conversation by we don't need, look, I know you play cornerback, we don't need a deflection here. We don't need a deflection, we don't need a distraction, we don't need an alternative conversation. His points were well taken in general. If Richard Sherman wants to run in politics someday, please don't run on a respectability politics platform as if the Black Lives Matter movement and the problems it is seeking to combat or result of problems that we have brought on ourselves. I think that's, we got to get over that. We got to get beyond that. I'm just a little disappointed to hear Richard Sherman speak on that and validate the people who think that. We hear that enough every day. And I just hated to hear that from him.
Yeah, I did too. And I understand, as he pointed out, he clearly has a very personal experience with it. And the only thing I'll add, because you said everything so beautifully.
I'm sorry, I took up all your time.
No, it didn't matter. You was cooking, and I was going to certainly let you continue to cook, is that there is and should be a different expectation among those who have badges and who are trained police officers whose job is to administer safety in our communities. And oh, by the way, part of the reason that there has been such less, if I went with the term black-on-black crime, but crime in those environments that Richard Sherman grew up in, that I grew up in, that you did, is because of the failure of law enforcement to adequately police those communities. Yeah, and I hate in general the conversation as if we as multifaceted, fully functioning, thinking individuals can't occupy two issues at the same time.
Right.
We can care about black lives in our own communities and also hold the police and those who have been tasked to police us accountable for their actions.
Correct.
They do not have to be separated.
They don't have to conflict either.
No, they don't.
And one did not beget the other.
No, and if anything, part of the reason why this conversation, why Black Lives Matter has risen the way it has, is because this is an element and an instrument of institutional racism, which you could link to some of the problems that are going on in the inner cities. So, like you, I was very disappointed that he had this commentary, because unfortunately, a lot of people who do say, well, what about all lives matter? Well, guess what? We would need Black Lives Matter if all lives did, in fact, matter.
Speak on it.
Okay, so he's giving them an entry point to say, see, Richard Sherman said that.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It must be okay.
Jay-Z said the N-word.
Right. So
why can't I?
There it is.
It's all the same thing.
It's all the same conversation. So again,
all of it.
Respect his right to have his opinion, but that opinion will be challenged.
Again, it's counterproductive. All right.